Okay, I think we are all here and we are live.
All right, I'll call to order the October 20th regular meeting of the Reclamation District 900. All trustees are now present. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54953 is amended by Assembly Bill 361 and due to the state of emergency declared by the governor on March 4, 2020, members of the Reclamation District 900 Board of Trustees and staff will participate in this meeting via teleconference. To reduce the spread of COVID-19, members of the public may watch the meeting via live stream located on the link of Reclamation District 900. And those members of the public who wish to do so are invited to participate in the meeting via Zoom or calling in at the numbers located on the Reclamation District 900's website. And we had a closed session meeting and I'll have our attorney, Reclamation District 900 attorney report out for that. Mr. Nevis.
Yes, thank you. The board met in closed session on one item of potential litigation. As a result of that discussion, the board determined to amend the agenda to remove item number 4 for further proceedings.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nevis. Item number 4 has been removed from the agenda. Next is our general administration part 1, presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the district, and the agency is prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda brought to them at this time. Mr. General Manager, are there any requests to speak under this public comment? Item number 1. A.
There are no requests.
All right, we'll close that and then move on to the next is item 1B, monthly year-to-date revenue and expenses. And I think, Mr. General Manager, will you provide a report?
Sure, real quick. Again, we're still early in the year. We've have received revenue from assessments, both RD 900 and West Safeka in the tune of $972,000. Our expenditures to date from July 1st to end of August have been $237,000. So we have revenue coming in and we're spending it. So real quick financial update for this evening.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll move to our consent agenda item part 2. There are from items 2 to 3. I'll accept a motion or a request to remove any item if there's any request to discuss it further.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second, I'll call it.
Okay, Mr. General Manager, please call the roll.
Trustee Alcala,
Aye.
Trustee Orozco,
Aye.
Trustee Ledesma,
Aye.
Trustee Early,
Aye.
President Guerrero.
Aye, thank you. This item is approved. This section consent agenda is approved. Next, we'll go to our regular agenda item part 3, moving down to number 5, consideration of awarding a construction contract between Reclamation District 900 and the lowest responsible bidder for the 889 Driver Street roof repair dated October 6, 2022. Mr. General Manager, do you have a presentation on this?
Yes, I do. Earlier this week, we opened bids for the roof repair. Like I mentioned in previous meetings, earlier this year during the winter, the roof leaked at our office building, both in the office and in the garage part. This September rain event that hit a couple of weeks ago, it leaked quite a bit more in the office portion of the building and in the same spot over the garage. So we've got some significant leaks in the roof. We went out to bid. We received one formal bid on the project from Garner Roofing in the neighborhood, or the dollar amount was $58,000. Apologize, let me pull up the exact correct number. $58,104 to replace the roof over the office and repair the roof over the garage. I had gotten a couple of informal bids on this several months ago, And those contractors had bid in the neighborhood of $140,000, or gave me a roundabout figure of 140. So this company came in at 58,000. Same materials as quoted by other contractors that looked at the roof. 20-year materials warranty, 10 years labor warranty on the roof. This includes removing or lifting. There's 2 air conditioner systems on the roof over the office, so it would raise the air conditioner so they can do work underneath that and repair it. The one thing it does not include is any dry rot in the plywood underneath the material for the roofing. They can't see it, so we don't know if there's any damage to the dry plywood. And so that would be an extra if in fact there was damage. And I've had my roof replaced on my house, and sure enough, we found dry rot, damaged plywood. And so that would be an extra.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions among the trustees? Okay.
None for me.
None for you. Okay, thank you. And so if there's an additional expense, you'll return back to us, or do you need some authority at this time to?
Yeah, what I did ask for,
hanging
and
up
I'm sorry, I'm going through my notes.
Would there be like
I
an
don't
estimate
have-
authorize you?
what I'm requesting is a 30% contingency on top of the bid, just in case of we do find dry rot. Our levy superintendent too came in, and after the bid had hit the streets, and once we get the equipment moved into the garage, the shop will be in the very far back of the garage. And that area back there, not only is it extremely hot, but it's very dark. Though we have lights, it's very dark. And he has requested that we install fans and either a skylight or solar tubing also. This particular contractor does offer those pieces that we can add to the contract if we so choose. Anyway, part of this is I've asked for a 30% contingency on top of the budget, and then that would cover any dry rot plywood issues. And if there is additional monies, we would like to look at doing the fan and skylights.
Okay, thank you. And is there security installed and as far as cameras or anything on the building yet?
Yes, we do have cameras. We do have an alarm. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Unfortunately, where we're located is, underneath the on-ramp to Highway 50, and we do get to campers in the Caltrans right away. They have cut through. There's a double fence, chain link fence, one on Caltrans, one on our side. They have cut through that. They used our water to shower, etc. We've capped the water spigots so that you can't access water. We will need to open those back up at some point, but we can put cages on them and hopefully keep folks out. Right now, what they do is they use the power. There's an outlet right next to our garage door, roll-up door, and so they come in and plug in extension cords or whatever, sit and charge cell phones and so on. So the city typically comes in, cleans out the site. They were here, the city was at our office yesterday to clean out the Caltrans site. I asked them if they could wire up the fences for us while they were out there. So they were going to try to do that. I didn't get a chance today to look at it, but try to close it up again to keep people off out of our area.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Orozco, do you have any questions? I see your mic is off. Oh, she's back.
Sorry, backwards. No, I don't. I apologize for having that.
Oh, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Okay. All right. I think the 30% is reasonable. I was wondering about how much you might need, so that is reasonable. Okay. If there are no questions, I'll open up for public comment. Mr. General Manager, is there any public comment requests?
There are no public comment requests.
All right, I'll close the public comment, bring it back to the trustees. If there are any questions, or we'll accept a motion to approve.
I have just a quick question. So the
Yes.
30% am I calculating that correct to be 17,500 roughly?
It's,
did
yeah, roughly, yeah, yes. I haven't done the math yet. Like I said, unfortunately, we just opened bids and making sure they dotted i's, crossed t's. So I unfortunately didn't do the math, but in that neighborhood, I think I had 18,000 or something like that. So.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
So in this, I'm supportive, but is the 30% an additional ask to what's on the agenda, or it's on the recommendation that we have to include that in the motion? I'm moving the recommended action to include the 30% inclusion of 30
Yeah,
of your request.
Give me a minute while I flip through.
Yes, it's under
It
number 2.
is. It's in number 2. Yeah, it's number 2.
include it?
Yeah. So yeah, you did. So I'll move
Okay.
the recommended actions then. Thank you.
Okay. I'll need a second.
I'll call a seconds.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. General Manager, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Alcala,
Aye.
Trustee Orozco.
Aye.
Trustee Early,
Aye.
Trustee Ledesma.
Aye.
President Guerrero.
Aye. All right, this is approved. Thank you, Blake. If you can keep us
Thank
posted,
you.
what you
Yes.
find. All right.
Yeah,
thank you.
I've tried to get this started ASAP with the rain that hit us September. It was really bad inside, so it's definitely needed.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, thank you. Next, item number 6 is the general manager updates.
All right, and I apologize. There it is. Okay, I'll start off with our administrative financial. The flood maintenance assistance program, the FMAP application, had been submitted by our district consultant MHM. DWR has allocated $185,000 for the district. We'd asked for quite a bit more, in the neighborhood of $400,000. According to our district engineer, the state has slashed a lot of those dollars that people were asking for, or districts were asking for. So I've asked him to follow up with the state to see the reasons for it, and I will also follow up. But that's where we're looking at for next year is 185,000. And this is when we're discussing well, I can't bring that up, but the dollar amount that we spend for under FMAP, they look at a 3-year running total. So the more money we spend on maintenance, the more money we get in the future. So when we don't spend money, we get less in the future. And I think that might have been where we're at too. We didn't spend enough over the last couple of years, so they've decreased the amount. So
I see.
yeah,
Blake?
any questions regarding the FMAP? We will bring that in front of the board once it's been finalized for board approval.
Blake, so you mentioned it's less. Can you, I'm sure it's in the report, I just don't have it in front of me. How much less are we getting?
I believe we asked for in the neighborhood of 400,000. So it's we got less than half of that.
And historically, we've gotten 400,000?
No, historically, Greg may be able to answer this better than myself. But I think historically we've run somewhere 250,000.
Greg, are you able to answer that?
I can answer for the last couple of years. Last year was, I think, the most the districts received, which is over $200,000, 230, and, or no, excuse me, 350. And the year previous, it was 203 or something like that. So the request that was made this year would have been the largest amount requested and or awarded by the state. And I also would offer that a lot of other LMAs are applying for FMAP funds as well. And there's a limited supply. So it's probably a combination of funds expended and the amount available for all of the LMAs that factored into what they're offering for the district.
So just to be clear, so we at most have gotten 230,000 in the past couple of years. And this year we got 180. Did I do that? Did I do that correctly?
Yeah, last year was 350. The year before that was 203.
Okay.
This request of for whatever that was, I'm sorry, Blake, but that would have been the largest amount. 180 as an award is, I think, in line with what the districts have received in the past.
Okay, that was what I needed. Thank you.
Is there like a rollover fund that we can apply for? Say, for example, somebody else doesn't spend their money and then we go in there and dip into the rollover by any chance?
You want me to try and handle that, Blake?
Yes, please.
If the district were to encounter additional expenses and reached out to DWR and said, hey, for whatever the reason, we've encountered some additional expenses, we'd like to amend our agreement to include additional funds if they're available. There is an opportunity to do that, and it would just be at the DWR's discretion and fund availability.
Okay, maybe we can give it a shot.
All right, next item. We've discussed a little bit about changing the time of the RD 900 board meetings time date. I don't think we've come up with a consensus on a different time or date. But the governor has stated as of February, the emergency is no longer. So starting in March of 2023, we'll be back in person. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that.
Just a quick question. There was a bill that was, I think, circulating. I don't know what happened to it to try to get an exemption. Did that not get approved?
Ask Ralph on that one.
I was expecting Ralph to show up.
The latest legislation that was approved by the governor does provide for certain exceptions for just cause or emergencies, particular to any particular member of the board. But those are only good for 2 times per year in extraordinary circumstances. And they still require that a quorum of the board is in person within the jurisdiction at the usual site. There are other requirements as well. And there's always the opportunity and the possibility to comply with the Brown Act and hold a hybrid meeting, but the requirements are more stringent than what we've been experiencing under COVID. So we can explore that later, and I can give a full report, but that's generally the outline.
I guess we'll be seeing each other in person.
All right, next levy maintenance. As I reported months back, we had a mower burn up in a fire. We finally received the insurance check on that mower. It was roughly $124,000 for that particular mower. New mower right now is running about $185,000. So we're looking at trying to put a bid together to acquire a new mower. We definitely need 2 mowers. We've got 1 mower right now, and we will need a second mower for next season. So we'll work on putting that together. Unfortunately, these mowers are hard to find. The rep had a mower out, brought it out to the yard to let the guys try it out. It was available. I don't know if it still is or not. but we do need to go through a bid process. They are not under the state's program, and so we'll have to go out to bid and try to put a bid package together for this particular mower. So we'll work on that here in the next months coming up. The levee slopes have all been completed, mowed. So our guys are working, spraying weeds in the canals and ponds right now and knocking down any localized brush and so on. One of the things that we are experiencing right now, mainly in the Southport levee, the top of the levee is cracking a little bit where the aggregate base, the roadway is meeting the levee earth. And so we're seeing cracks in the neighborhood of 2 to 4 inches wide, maybe up to six inches deep. So we've talked with the geotech engineer on this project, Blackburn. He thinks it's caused by desiccation cracks. So it's the heat and our summer heat is causing the cracking. It's drying up the soil, causing these cracks, and they're just opening up. So what we did here last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, with the state on site, we actually went through and recompacted those cracks, opened them up, watered them, filled them with soil in an aggregate base, and recompacted them. So the state was happy with that. We'll keep an eye on it over the winter time and into next summer to see if this is a reoccurring issue. But we had 1,000 feet or so of these cracks running along, and most of it's on the land side of the levee. So just wanted to let everybody know there's more cracking over where our shop is, and that's in the levee slope, but that's truly desiccation cracking. The clay is shrinking due to the heat. Typically you get it wet and it will swell shut and you won't see the cracks. In this case, the cracks are much bigger. I think we did try to hit a few of the cracks with water. They're not going to swell closed. They're a little too big. So, but we've repaired all of them, and DWR was good with our procedure. Projects, the Blackbird Canal Bank Stabilization Project. We met with the Army Corps in a pre-application meeting. I think it's about 2 weeks ago. We're working on the permit process right now, trying to decide which permit number we fall under. So that's still in process. And Greg, you and I will need to talk a little bit more on that based on the email we received from our environmental consultant. But so we're still targeting construction for 2023 on Blackbird Canal. I've brought this up several times, the office landscaping and signage. We have not yet gone out to proposal on that. We figured the roof was more important right now, and also fixing the cracks on Southport levees. September 30th, we met with the DWR for our annual year-end inspection. Everything looked great. He was pleased with how staff maintained the levees, modem, and so he was real happy. It was a real quick inspection. We drove around the entire city looking at levees, and he did spot the desiccation cracking, and it's all relatively new. This cracking at the road interface with the levee soil is new. It's probably happened over the last month, but right after that extreme heat that we experienced. So we're thinking the heat really did cause this. Anyway, they were real pleased with the maintenance of the levees. We also had to report out on a yearly basis any known issues with the levee. That's an online reporting to DWR, so that has been accomplished also. Emergency preparedness, DWR had a pre-flood meeting. Greg and myself were at this one. It was held at City Hall. They're predicting another La Nina year. Interesting meeting, had a lot of different folks in it, from the California Conservation Corps to CAL FIRE. And one of the things I'm going to work on is getting under contract with the California Conservation Corps. No work will come out of it. We'll just get the contracts prepared. In the event of needing assistance for flood fighting, filling sandbags, they can provide staff. As we've talked over the months of all of these emergency preparedness training, one of the issues we always run into is the number of bodies to help out. And between RD 900 and our total of 6 staff members and the city of West Sacramento and their number of staff members, we're going to need more support. And so California Conservation Corps can bring crews of 15 people or more to assist in these kind of efforts. So we also had a flood fight training where we all got to fill sandbags and build rings for boils and place plastic sheeting on a levee slope. So very, very good meeting. I've been to these in the past. Our staff has been to these in the past. They hold them yearly. It makes sense to go to these yearly, just again to remember what needs to be done. And there's a 3-hour classroom training before we go out in the field and do this. So it's worthwhile. They had a great video from the floods of 1997 that they showed us just to remind us, though we've been in a drought for quite some time, it's serious business in the flood control world. With that, I'll hand it over to Greg to discuss the West Safeco items.
All right, thanks, Blake, and good evening, President Guerrero and board members. So just a quick update. We're working with the Army Corps of Engineers now that we've executed the PPA, the Project Partnership Agreement. They now have access to their FY22 funds, and so we've been working with them to develop a schedule for the entire project, all of the remaining reaches, which there are about 7 or so of them. We are preparing the real estate package and real estate certifications so that the Corps can then move forward with the contracting to prepare the specs to go out to bid for the Yellow Bypass East Levee South reach in the spring of 2023. Depending on the timing of FY23 funds, right now we're in a continuing resolution and which is through December 16. If an appropriations bill is passed on or about December 16, then the Corps will then have access to the roughly $80 million for our project. And so we're going to try to get the Yellow Bypass North Levee or reach out to bid at roughly the same time or shortly behind it. So we'll have a minimum of 1 reach under construction next year, possibly 2. If there's a delay in funding or in another CR that goes into 2023, then that reach will likely be constructed in 2024. In the meantime, we're continuing to advance some of the geotechnical investigations on Sac River North. Between the Sac bypass and the Stone Lock. We've already completed 2 rounds of geotechnical investigations in 2 segments. We just got approval for a 3rd segment out of 5. And that work should start up next week. And that's all feeding the Corps for design effort on the Sac River North Levee. Meanwhile, the Corps has already submitted a funds request for the President's budget for FY24. And so we're trying to get as much intel as we can. They're not supposed to talk directly to us about what their requests are, but we have ways of at least getting in the ballpark, understanding of what they're requesting. So we're going to be ramping up our lobbying effort to support the Corps' request for FY24 funding for the West Sac project. And I think that's about it. Happy to answer any questions that the board may have about West Safeco or the flood project.
That's a very good update. Thank you. I think that covers all of the
All
questions.
right. Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, Blake, did you want to talk about SB 901 and the MA4 area?
Yeah, that was my next topic I was going to bring up. I'll bring it up, and Greg, mine will be real short. If you have more information, please jump in. Under the SB 901, the district has been given an authority to take over maintenance area 4, the state's maintenance area, which runs along the Sac River from the water treatment plant, I guess I'll call it, south to, what do we say, about I Street is the location. So
Yeah, it's about right.
tomorrow, Greg and I are meeting with the state to discuss Central Valley, the flood protection board's paperwork and agreements and so on. So it's starting to move forward.
Yeah, and the only other part I'd add, when SB 901 was approved and enacted, so it did 3 things in addition to authorizing and redefining RD 900's boundaries to include the MA4 area, and authorizing RD 900 to move forward with the state to take over maintenance of that area. It also authorized the current federal flood project from the state's perspective, so which is good. Doesn't directly provide funding, but it does acknowledge the state's responsibility as another non-federal partner, so it's just good. And then the third thing the bill did was extend the urban level of flood protection deadline from 2025 to 2030. So we have an additional 5 years in which to reach a 200-year level of flood protection for the West Sacramento community. So those are all very good things that happened, and I'm sure Blake will report out on our efforts to work with the state to complete the last piece of the transfer of responsibility for the MA4 area.
Thanks, Greg. Last item for me, working with the city of West Sacramento, maintenance costs and potential responsibilities for the proposed River Park project. Met with several staff members just to discuss what might happen with that, and who wants to take over the operation and maintenance if and when that moves forward. So just had meetings regarding that. It's a long year drainage facility, park-like setting, and so we're in discussions as to maintenance costs primarily right now as we move forward in that project. The other thing, the Bridgeway Lakes project that riprap was placed in our main canal. Water has been moving towards Bridgeway Lakes, so it is breached the weir at this time. I think city staff has been fighting a rodent issue. We've got a beaver out in that area that fills the dam every time it gets cleaned out. So it happens daily. So city staff is out there poking a hole through every time to clean it out. So but water has topped it and moving forward. So whether we get water there before the rains hit, I'm not sure.
Funny. Okay.
So that's it for my general manager update. If there's any questions, I'd be more than welcome to answer.
Any questions?
Thanks, Blake. No, thanks for the update.
This is a very important. Thank you, Blake and Greg. Appreciate all the information. You guys are doing a lot of work.
It's been busy.
I bet. Yeah. I bet. Thank you. And yeah, the prioritization of the way you've prioritized things is great. Thank you for explaining that.
Sure.
No other questions? Comments? Okay. I'll move on to number 7, trustee comments. Are there any? None. I'll move on to 8, adjourn. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
I'll call a moves.
Second.
Hey, Mr. General Manager, please call the roll.
Alcala,
Aye.
Early,
Aye.
Ledesma,
Aye.
President Guerrero.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody. Bye-bye.